Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, I rise today as the duly elected representative of the people of Chikanga, whom I represent, and I have an honor and privilege to serve in this house. I stand here, Mr. Speaker, carrying the hopes, aspirations, and concerns of the citizens who entrusted me with their vote and their voice. After carefully considering the provisions and implications on the CAB3 bill, Mr. Speaker, I wish to register my opposition of this bill. Speaker is guided by the interests of the people I represent and by my commitment to promote legislation and advances democracy, protect citizens' rights, and serves the public. Mr. Speaker, I therefore rise to reject the CAB3 bill, and I will proceed to House several reasons why I believe this bill is not the best interest of the people of Chikanga and the nation at large. Mr. Speaker, when I travel across my constituency, I do not hear people asking for the constitutional amendments. I do not hear mothers, Mr. Speaker, asking for CAB3. I do not hear unemployed youth demanding CAB3. I do not hear pensioners, vendors, farmers, teachers, or workers calling for CAB3, Mr. Speaker. What I hear are cries for jobs, Mr. Speaker. What I hear are calls for affordable education. What I hear are pleas for food on the table, Mr. Speaker. What I hear are demands for reliable transport, decent accommodation, functional hospitals with medication, and an end to the drug abuse destroying our young people. That is the conversation, Mr. Speaker, taking place in homes, in churches, in buses, in markets, and in our community. Mr. Speaker said, the people are asking how they will survive, while this House is being asked to debate how politicians can govern. That is why I stand firmly opposed to this bill, Mr. Speaker, at a time when families are struggling to ends meet, when young people are leaving school because of poverty, when graduates cannot find jobs, and when communities are battling with substance abuse and economic hardships. This amendment does not answer the question what ordinary Zimbabweans are asking. Mr. Speaker, people want bread, not political engineering. They want opportunities, not constitutional experiments. They want safe delivery, not the extension of political power. Mr. Speaker, the constitutions must be amended only when there is a compelling national interest. The question before us is very simple, Mr. Speaker. Whose problem is CAB3 solving? It does not create a single job, Mr. Speaker. It does not lower the price of meal. Our hospitals. It does not improve the state of our hospitals, Mr. Speaker. It does not even build schools, Mr. Speaker. It does not bring investment in our country. It does not put food on the table for struggling families. The people did not ask for this bill, Mr. Speaker. The people deserve better, Mr. Speaker. People deserve leaders who focus on their daily realities rather than on the arrangement that benefits those already in power of position. Mr. Speaker, is the Constitution amendment at this stage, given various social, political, economic challenges in our country, which our country is going through? It does not seem an amendment of the Constitution is an answer. The prices of oil have gone up due to the war in Iran. The price of fertilizer have increased due to the war in Ukraine. There is need for our government to make interventions to cushion our people from these hardships. I stand with the people, Mr. Speaker. Our people are crying out for a better life, food on the table, quality education, reliable transport, jobs, decent accommodation, and an end to the drug abuse. They want policies which improve their daily lives, not the CAB3, which many feel does not address their immediate needs and aspirations. The people's voice must come first, Mr. Speaker. We must address these issues as a nation before anything else. The proposed amendment does not address these important issues, Mr. Speaker. Our country remains internationally isolated and does not have access to international credits as well as international markets. So, the amendments to the Constitution at this stage are totally unnecessary, as it does not address the bread and butter issue of our country. Mr. Speaker, let me go to the issue of the extension of the term and the benefits by the incumbent in the same bill. Among other things, the bill seeks to extend the presidential and parliamentary term limits. At the same time, it seeks to enable the incumbents to benefit from this extension. In terms of Section 328, subsection 8, Mr. Speaker, the two items cannot be in the same bill. The fact that they have been put in the same bill means that the bill itself is illegal, Mr. Speaker. I'm tempted to argue that the amendment does not seek to amend the Bill of Rights. This is clearly wrong, Mr. Speaker. Insofar as it removes the right to elect the president from the general populace, the bill takes away the right to the vote as enshrined in the Constitution, Section 67, subsection 3. Therefore, the amendment, Mr. Speaker, cannot be in the same bill. In terms of Section 17, subsection 2A, the Parliament can only amend this Constitution in terms of Section 328 of the Constitution. Insofar as this amendment seems to suggest that the amendments will end with Parliament before being sent to the Presidential Assembly without need to go to the referendum, then it falls foul for the provisions of Section 328, Mr. Speaker. This amendment removes the right of the people of Zimbabwe to vote for their president, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, it affects the Bill of Rights and it has to be subjected to the referendum. Mr. Speaker, there is also a conflict of interest, Mr. Speaker, on the part of Parliament and the President. Parliament stands to materially benefit from this amendment, Mr. Speaker. So will the President. To make these two institutions the alpha and omega of this bill is to bring a serious conflict of interest, Mr. Speaker. To avoid conflict of interest, this bill must be subjected to a referendum. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I think the referendum would be the best is the statistics are very clear that the statistics which are in this Parliament, Mr. Speaker, shows that those who were supporting the bill are more than those who were opposing. So it will clearly send that right back to the people who are saying they want the amendment bill. They will clearly vote it in the referendum, and those who are opposing will also oppose. Mr. Speaker, the shortcomings, I would also want to highlight the shortcomings of this bill. Returning the voter registration function to the Registrar General's office in terms of the bill, voter registration is also going to be done by the Registrar, who is directly appointed by the President, Mr. Speaker. This was one of the key issues, Mr. Speaker, in the constitution-making process that ended in 2013 and was roundly rejected by the people. Yes. For us to achieve truly free and fair election, voter registration must be done by an independent institution. Clause 2 inserted new section 43A to give back the responsibility of the registrating voters to the Registrar General in the majority, in most countries, Mr. Speaker, and in the world, Mr. Speaker. This process will also be highlighted in most of the countries that they use independent boards, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Mr. Speaker, these elections are normally handled by the independent bodies, and the office of the Registrar General in Zimbabwe is an arm of government, Mr. Speaker, and is not an independent institution. Yes. The registrar reports to the politician, Mr. Speaker, who is the Minister of Home Affairs and is also a beneficiary of the electoral process and hence an interested party. It is therefore, Mr. Speaker, inappropriate to transfer voter registration from an independent institution to a non-independent institution. I want to go around to the SADC countries, Mr. Speaker. I would go for Botswana. Botswana is an independent electoral commission. South Africa is the Electoral Commission of South Africa. Yes. Zimbabwe is the National Elections, Mozambique is the National Elections Commission. Malawi has the Malawi Electoral Commission. Namibia is the Namibian Electoral Commission of Namibia. There is the National Electoral Commission in Angola, Mr. Speaker. The Democratic Republic of Congo is the Independent Electoral Committee. In Mauritius, Mr. Speaker, is the Office of the Electoral Commissioner. Zambia is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, while Tanzania is an Independent National Electoral Commission. Has a role of supervising and coordinating the registration of voters in the presidential and parliamentary election, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Zimbabwe must go along with the majority in SADC region and the world at large, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the election of the president by parliament and not by the people, Mr. Speaker. This is a fundamental change of the political system. However, it falls foul of the other provisions of the constitutions. In terms of Section 3, subsection 2B, Mr. Speaker, the principles of the good governance binding the state include an electoral system based on universal adult suffrage. This means the right of all illegal adults to vote. The amendment removes the right, Mr. Speaker. Further, in terms of Section 3, subsection 2F, there must be the respect of the people of Zimbabwe from the authority to govern is derived. This means the president's authority to govern must come directly from the people and not from parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the ideals of the liberation struggle was one man, one vote, Mr. Speaker. This is now being violated by this bill, Mr. Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member must not mislead the House that in 1980 we didn't vote for the Prime Minister. So if we were fighting for one man, one vote before independence, we should have used that because we had won the war. Why didn't we use it?
Thank you. Honorable member. Honorable Karinyeri. Honorable Karenyi, did you actually say the Prime Minister was voted for through one man, one vote? Can you allow her to
Thank you, Mr.
answer?
Speaker. I did not even talk of the Prime Minister. I didn't. I can repeat what I said.
So, Honorable Chief Whip, can you please clarify your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member said, when we fought for one man, one vote. Yeah. In the context that we were going to vote the president or prime minister. That's not what happened in 1980. Okay. If that was the grievance that we had, why didn't we use it in 1980?
We order. If the honorable member was insinuating that the one man, one vote implied to the election of the Prime Minister, then order, I haven't finished. Standing order says when the chair is speaking, you must be silent. If that was intimated, then it should be withdrawn. If it wasn't intimated, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand guided by your wisdom, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to go on the presidential appointment into...
Just to advise you, you still have 3 minutes more to wind up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of the appointments, Mr. Speaker, in the Senate, this is totally undemocratic, Mr. Speaker. It was rejected by Zimbabweans during the constitution-making process. And maybe, Mr. Speaker, to emphasize on my submission, we have got 7 members already, Mr. Speaker, which I feel that if the president is seeing that the they are not performing well, he can actually withdraw and also appoint those who are able to do the work. Mr. Speaker, let me rush to the issue of the traditional leaders, Mr. Speaker. I strongly feel that the traditional leaders must remain apolitical because, Mr. Speaker, these are our traditional leaders who are also who act as judges in disputes among our people, Mr. Speaker. To them to join politics, Mr. Speaker, it will also affect the day-to-day running of their issues, of their business in the rural areas, Mr. Speaker. The current provisions prohibiting traditional leaders to join political parties is correct, Mr. Speaker. Our traditional leaders should be partisan, and I strongly feel that they must not involve themselves in politics. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, there is a saying that is, if it is not broken, don't fix it, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Our constitution is not a problem, Mr. Speaker. Yes. The problem is violence, intimidation, corruption, inequality, and unequal access to the national. Our problem is the international isolation of our country that is affecting the poor, Mr. Speaker. This amendment takes away the power of the people to elect the highest office of their land, Mr. Speaker. It is unnecessary, undemocratic, and totally uncalled for, Mr. Speaker. Our constitution is not the cause of poverty. Our constitution is not the cause of unemployment. Our constitution is not the cause of corruption, Mr. Speaker. Our constitution is not the cause of poor service delivery. The challenge before us is not a constitutional crisis, Mr. Speaker. It is a governance crisis. The people of Zimbabwe fought of the liberation struggle, Mr. Speaker, for us kutitigare zvakanaka. They fought for the right to choose their leaders. They fought for a democratic nation where the power comes from the people and remain accountable to the people. Any amendment that weakens that principle cannot be taken lightly. History will not ask whether we protected the politicians. History will ask whether we protected the rights of the people, Mr. Speaker. Today, I choose to stand with the people. I choose to stand with the unemployment, the youth, which do not have jobs. I choose to stand with the mothers struggling to feed their family. I choose to stand with farmers and workers and vendors and pensioners and citizens who choose deserve to be heard. To those reasons, Madam Mr. Speaker, I reject this bill and urge this House to put the people first. The voice of the people must remain the voice of our democrats. So I submit.
In as much as Honorable Karenyi Kore was on the wrong side of the masses, when you're looking at this kind of debate, it seems as if she had some reflections and she carries some regrets of her actions. And she represented so well. So what is left is to see how they are going to vote. Who are they going to vote for? Will they criticize and reject the bill and then vote otherwise? Time will tell. So in as much as people are against the voting, in the public voting in parliament, this is also an opportunity to expose the kind of MPs who we have in parliament, because if someone is going to vote directly, publicly, what it means is we have to know who is who. We have to know which MP from the opposition is for the people. So let us forget about the ZANU-PF MPs, because they're like wind. They are like that Shirinonzo. They simply follow wind. And we had high expectations from the MPs from the opposition. With another MP, Susan, akatorasika, and she exposed herself. She's no longer in the good books with the people, and there is no redemption for such characters politically in the nation of Zimbabwe. So she debated so well, despite the differences which we have in terms of how they handled the post-elections issue, or the post-2023, she debated well. So that will not wash away the misgivings of giving Chabango, an opportunity to recall others, the legitimacy to recall MPs, which created a situation where ZANU-PF obtained two-thirds majority from such recalls. It will not take away that, but she tried. She did so well in terms of how she debated. So this is what is happening. The majority of the MPs from the opposition, they are objectively debating in parliament, and they are actually doing so well. So you could see the debates from Honorables Chikombo, Honorables, they are doing so well. Ajenze Gumbo, Ropama Kumire, and others. So let us continue, Team Zimbabwe, to be in solidarity with one another. Let us continue to support President Nelson Chamisa. He needs our support at this point. Forget all the accusations and allegations from Arakashwa and Zvigananda. Mabasa evanhu vamafidhi. I always say, ukanzwa munhu ari criticize Chamisa, munhu ende wamafidhi. Ngatitaurei zvinoita kuti tigone kuvaka nyika yedu.